This is the Paranormal Report.
Yeah. If you're listening on audio, you're a very fortunate person. Once again, people seem to like the dancing at the beginning, which...
Oh, it's so freaky weird.
It's goofy.
Whatever.
But there it is. We are the Paranormal Report. I am Jim.
I am Dar. Welcome. What's going on?
Oh, I don't know. Today was a day of medical appointments, but I had to get back here, rush back to the studio so we could record. We cannot miss the Paranormal Report. And don't worry, folks, nothing serious, just typical kind of middle-aged stuff, but nothing dire, thank goodness.
Yes, thank God. Yep.
As you progress in years, you will find this is a fact of life. You just randomly have to go to the doctor about every month.
I was in my upper 20s and 30s when I was going constantly, so it didn't matter. I had so many medical issues.
That's true.
So this is new to you, having it happen to you, but it's not new.
No, I know. You had a rough go of it, no question about it. Plus, you've had to deal over the years with my obsession. Do you know what my obsession is?
Which one?
Well, one thing I'm obsessed with, I've got in common with our Vice President. And nobody throw tomatoes at me if you don't like him. But apparently our Vice President is obsessed with UFOs and UFO videos. And he wants to get to the bottom of it. Now, this is coming.
Oh, yes, he does. I'm sure.
Yes. Well, apparently he was on the Ruthless podcast. I think this was last Friday. And he said that he is obsessed with UFO videos. This report is from Fox News. And he said, quote, "I'm obsessed with the whole UFO thing. What's actually going on? What were those videos all about? What's actually happening? I haven't gotten to the bottom of it yet, but we're only 6 months in." But then he says something which kind of, here's time for the joke, the funny, right? He said, "This August recess," he's talking about the congressional recess, is in part me going to try and dive to the bottom of the whole UFO thing last year. And he said he would tell the hosts once he gets to the bottom of it. So it almost became like a joke, although I took it as though he does have some genuine interest. But do we really believe that the Vice President of the United States doesn't know what's going on? What do you think?
Who knows? I don't know. I swear I feel so conspiratorial when I speak like this, but I just have such mistrust of all of them. Like whatever they say, it's just like la 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 la. Because whatever.
We've seen former president, and again, I want to be clear: this is not a Republican Democrat thing.
No,
I'm not taking
I don't care
sides before somebody.
They can
says
all
that,
go.
Like, you're reporting on
care
Vance,
about
you're a terrible
either of
person.
them.
But I mean, President Clinton and Obama were on like late night talk shows, and they would kind of joke about it as well. So I think this is almost a standard operating practice when this comes up. Let's, say, oh, it is interesting, and make the punchline. It's kind of like this is the way that you deal with it. You say one serious sentence, and then you throw in a joke. So
question:
Did
he mention anything about like the what is it? The congressional, like Luna and all of them, the commission that's supposed to be like, was there anything at all serious mentioned?
Nothing.
Or was this like
I've not.
Yeah, I believe in him.
I didn't listen. I have to be honest. I did not listen to the podcast. So, but in this article, there was no an indication of that.
So then, so to me, then I would interpret that as this was more of, like you said, standard operating procedure. Let's make a little joke, as opposed to, I really do believe in the UFO thing. We need to get in the bottom of it. I'm so happy we have, Representatives Luna and Burleson and other people like really looking into it. And hopefully we'll get some good information out there.
And we don't have this in the lineup, so I don't have the story in front of me. Didn't Luna this week call for some more serious study of that interstellar object that Avi Loeb is concerned about? That
yes, you know what?
Atlas?
I think you did. I think I did see something. Kind of mentioned, but see, that's the funny part too. It was kind of mentioned. There wasn't like glaring stories out there talking about it directly.
It's funny because I've seen people talking about that online that I never see talk about these topics. Some of the people I follow in the podcast world who have nothing to do with paranormal or nothing to do with UFOs said, hey, this looks really interesting. So I think it's got some people's attention. And, maybe I need to try to reach out to Dr. Loeb and see if I could get him on one of the shows to talk about it.
That would be so interesting.
I don't know. I mean, he's been very open before about coming on the show, so maybe we can
that would be
out.
great.
Yeah. But we'll see. But I'll tell you that's now I believe it's called 3-Eye Atlas, I believe it's called. And it's headed this way. And Dr. Loeb and other people feel, it's a very, very minute percentage that it would be naturally occurring, looking at its aspects and looking at the approach of angle and all these different things. It almost seems intentional in some way. So curious to see. And apparently it's going to be really close in the next few months. So
we have another story coming up about this, kind of tangentially related to that, about somebody who predicted something a few years ago.
Yes, I remember that.
Stay tuned, guys, because this is to me, this was very interesting. So
yeah. Now, you have an interesting story.
Big story. This was mainstream, everyone. This was big story, mainstream. I'm happy to use the people.com article, but I and I'm going to be honest, I wasn't familiar with this person. However, so we are they're reporting that comedian Matt Rife is now the legal guardian of the Annabelle doll, plus Ed and Lorraine Warren's entire haunted collection.
Wow.
Yeah, I had no idea who this guy is. Apparently, because I'm not on TikTok.
But you know what? I looked him up. I mean, I looked him up.
He's extremely controversial.
And he makes like $50 million a year, some crazy number.
Making domestic violence jokes and jokes against those that are neurodivergent and having to wear helmets. And he's a great guy.
I know he made some pretty questionable remarks, I'll put it that way. I had seen that. I did not see the ones you're referring to.
Yeah, those are the ones. He had to do this whole huge apology from what I read about the domestic violence joke. And
there was another one. There was another one. I'm not going to get into it. There was one that was very sensitive that he had to put an apology out for. I saw that one. So I don't know. I mean, I've heard some people comment that he really is into the paranormal things. But to me, a comedian is going to be somebody who's going to make fun of it. But what did you find out?
Well, that's what the article, he is. Apparently, he is a huge horror fan. The Conjuring is his favorite movie. And he was just so excited. He bought it with another YouTube creator, Elton Casty, and they officially purchased. Oh,
I've interviewed Elton before.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
What's his deal as a YouTube creator? Is he paranormal?
Yeah, he's paranormal, and he goes into places and they do investigations. I didn't know he was involved.
Yes, they are friends, and they purchased it together. But this is the part that very, very confusing to me in this article. They purchased it, but they didn't really purchase it. They don't own it. They only are the caretakers for 5 years.
So it's like a licensing deal.
I think it's like a licensing deal. That's what it sounds like to me. Because they don't own it. They don't own any of it. They just are caretakers of it.
And I'm not casting aspersions, but my guess, there's a term when you have rights to something, they call it exploiting it. It doesn't mean that's necessarily bad, but that means you're using it. You're using it like, let's say that you own a logo. You would put on a T-shirt, you're, quote, exploiting it. It's like a legal term. So I think in terms of licensing, what they're probably going to do is have it for 5 years, and they're going to utilize it in commerce in some way that they can make money off of it. That's what I'm assuming. And I'm not saying that's a negative or a positive, but I bet you, because
he says some things here. So first of all, they're the guardians and caretakers of the Warrens' home, as well as the museum and its collection of 750 artifacts. They do not have permanent ownership. They do not legally own any of the items, but they have plans for things, big plans, because the Warrens Occult Museum, those doors have been closed for a number of years, like 2019, I think, because of zoning violations. They're supposedly, he says soon, on TikTok. Sorry, guys. The house will be open for guests with options to visit for a day, a night, or an entire weekend. The museum, meanwhile, will be open for tours, so you yourself can experience and learn all the haunted history surrounding this amazing place. And he said, this is the most random hobby ever, but it's so cool. Bad word. Cool, man. I should probably collect stamps or something. Might be a little safer.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, again, I don't know anything about this guy. All I can say is I guess we have to reserve judgment to see what he does, right? I mean, I don't think it's totally fair to say, because I actually saw some people comment say, he's really into the paranormal and he'll do the right thing. So let's see what he does.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. The problem is right away, and all the articles started with comedian Matt Rife, comedian. And I know that's his title and that's what he is, but right away, what do you conjure up in your head? No pun intended. Conjure up in your head when you hear comedian. Ha ha, funny. This is funny, right? You don't hear, oh, wow, they're going to be like serious. He might be serious. I'm not saying he's not going to be, but the bias again in all the articles is, oh, look, a comedian bought all this stuff. Ha ha ha, it's going to be so funny. Just my bias. That's kind of what I think and what I believe when I hear it. But yeah, and he was trying to go on TikTok, trying to explain to others, like, I know you, quote, I know a lot of you guys don't know what any of this means whatsoever, but if you follow ghost stuff, this is about as big as it gets. So
it's pretty big. No, there's no question.
Yeah. There is a picture too of him and Elton standing in front of Annabelle. So they have a picture of it.
Yeah, I saw him mention. I didn't know Elton Castee was involved.
Yeah,
so
I didn't know who he was because I don't follow.
He's more of a
stuff,
YouTube guy. And that really tells we used to always think of television as the fame, but I think those days are kind of past. I mean, as far as I know, I don't think Elton has had traditional TV shows, but he's a huge YouTube star in the paranormal world. He's way more popular than anything that we put out. And good for him. He cracked the code, I guess. But I guess what I'm saying is that there is this whole layer of celebrities that have millions of followers that a lot of people aren't aware of. It's just interesting how celebrity has changed.
I'm old, day. So,
Me too.
I don't follow, and we all know I don't follow social media. So of course I wouldn't be on TikTok and I wouldn't know who he is. And my YouTubes are usually, well, you see my subscription.
Cruising and crafting,
basically.
There you go.
And cooking. I like cooking too. But go on, yeah.
Well, this next story, again, this has a little bit to do with politics. We don't get political, but I think the reason you found the story, the reason you chose it is because the person's being disparaged because of their beliefs, not their political beliefs, but their personal beliefs.
Yeah.
So,
and the way that's written, this just kind of did. This article did ding, ding, ding to me about going back to last week with the way the Newsweek article was written. This was very much the same. It just takes such a bias slant.
It's about Rupert Matthews. He is in the UK. He's a politician over there. And for many years, for 40 years, he's been a member of the Conservatives. And for those of you who don't follow UK politics, that's basically the Republicans. It's like the Republicans. Labour is like Democrats. If you know, I don't mean to condescend, but if you don't know, I thought I'd explain because a lot of our people are in the States. And
I get confused.
A lot of people in the States don't follow British politics. So anyway,
follow our politics,
Matthews
which is probably good.
recently left the Conservatives after 40 years and moved over to what's called the Reform Party. It used to be called the Brexit Party, and it's right of the Conservatives. Although I was looking up, it's not considered, quote, far right, but it is right of the Conservatives.
Okay.
That's Nigel Farage's party, who was, very big with Brexit and so forth. So we're not saying pro Mr. Matthews or con Mr. Matthews, but apparently he is also an expert on ghosts, aliens, and UFOs. And this is The Independent reporting. He said he's written a number of books about ghost sightings, UFOs, cryptozoology, and other paranormal subjects. Now, the Labour Party...
Read the next line. Read the next line, though. Cryptozoology is what, Jim?
Yeah. Well, here's what the Independent had to say about cryptozoology. Cryptozoology is a pseudoscience focusing on legendary animals such as Sasquatch in order to evaluate the possibility of their existence. So already they're coming out against
pseudoscience,
anomalous kind of pseudoscience, right? Well, apparently, it's the Labor Party. The other side, the more liberal side, has attacked Matthews more so on his beliefs in terms of the supernatural, not as much about policy, but this next statement has both. Starmer, Keir Starmer's the prime minister, his press secretary said, their big defection is very interested in the fantastical and the unexplained. It's no surprise he's added reforms fiscal plans to that list. And that was well played. I mean, but it's annoying because I'm trying to find the quote here. There's a quote where they really kind of attack him because of his beliefs. And I don't know where it is, but essentially what they're doing is they're saying, maybe that was the quote, but I thought there was one.
I thought there is one more.
Yeah, here it is. It's not just the ghost of Tory past, being conservatives, Tory past that is swelling the reform ranks. Their latest recruit, Rupert Matthews, peddles alien conspiracy theories and believes the removal of, and it goes on to talk about his political stance on some things. But no problem attacking him on his political stance. Go at it. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Labor should basically go against conservative and reform, and conservative and reform will go against
policies,
labor.
Right?
That makes sense.
If these are your policies, yes, they're up for grabs, right?
Would you criticize someone if they were a Catholic? Would you criticize someone if they were a Hindu? Would you criticize someone if they were Islamic? Whatever the religion may be. I'm not saying that belief in the paranormal is a religion, but it is a belief of sorts.
It's a personal belief.
Why is it okay to attack Mr. Matthews for his personal beliefs and interests? Stick to the politics. Stick to the policy.
Also,
that's what to say.
Article, stick to the facts, right? Please stop putting your bias in. We could tell that from the way it's written, you don't like, you think all paranormal things are funny, which is great. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. Everybody has their own.
Right.
And
but they got to get that in there. They got to get that.
But they have to, here, read it. I'm going to convert your mind. You keep reading. I'm going to keep brainwashing you. Yeah. So that's the part that when I saw this article, I don't care anything about the politics, whatever, attack his policy all you want, but why are you attacking his personal beliefs? So what if he believes in Sasquatch or he's written books on that? Why is that any less of a science?
Are we not allowed? Does that mean that all of us who are interested in the paranormal or maybe have had a podcast or written a book, we're automatically disqualified from being in politics?
Absolutely. You're disqualified from everything because you're a joke, right? That's how I'll just go right back to last week with the Newsweek article that professor had to give all of it. Why was that important? Just state the facts. I would have had no problem with that article saying, 44% of women believe, or 40% of women believe versus 28% men. End it. Why then did you have to make a comment and find that it was necessary to continue to go on and say, well, that's because men are more rational? Wait. You only have data. You don't have the whys to any of this. Shh. And this is what this article is doing as well. Keep putting in your personal beliefs in articles. It's not an opinion piece. You're supposed to be stating fact. State
those
fact.
Days are gone. I think
they are gone.
Who, what, where, why.
I guess I will be gone soon too, so they can continue doing whatever they want. I don't know.
And they most likely will.
And you know why I'm going to be gone, Jim? Because this next story.
It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter.
Guys, I'm going to warn you guys right now. This is the most scary thing you are going to hear. Forget scary movies like The Conjuring. Forget about Annabelle. Forget about all of this, because this article, I read this and I'm like, oh no. Okay, so yes. And this is from thetimes.com. Experts predict AI will lead to the extinction of humanity. Well, we've kind of always talked about this, right? We've talked about this. now there's people actually really coming out against it. So in late July, there were 25 people. They stood in front of OpenAI's corporate office wearing red t-shirts saying "Stop AI," and somebody was dressed like a robot. But but there are a number of experts that truly agree with this. And one of them is a Nobel Prize winner in physics, Jeffrey Hinton.
Oh, yeah. I know who that. Oh, I know who that is. Didn't he basically help? Yeah, he basically helped invent it.
Yeah. Well,
I've seen him interviewed many times.
He's not happy. So Jeffrey Hinton, Yoshua Bengio, he won a Turing Award. The chief executives of OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google DeepMind, all of whom signed an open letter that read, quote, "Mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority alongside other societal scale risks such as pandemics and nuclear war." So that's how important they think this is, right? And this article makes you scared. They gave hypothetical scenarios. What if AI releases a dozen quiet-spreading biological weapons in major cities, lets them silently infect almost everyone, then triggers them with a chemical spray, right?
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye. That would just wipe us off the face of the planet. So Nate Soares, he's a former Google and Microsoft engineer who's now president of the Machine Intelligence Research Institute, says our chance of extinction via AI is at least 95% if we continue on this current path.
Wow.
He compared the situation to driving towards a cliff at 100 miles per hour. He said, "I'm not saying we can't stop the car, but we're just going full steam toward the cliff."
Well, I think what it is, there are, tech leaders who I think of some of these companies that just want to win. They want to be number one.
Absolutely.
They won't stop. And they're like, it'll all work out, but I want this company to own this space. I want to be the number one guy. It's kind of like Steve Jobs on steroids. I think that's what we've got. And kind of, I'll pay lip service about being concerned about it, but we are going to, so much for AI safety and those kind of things. That's kind of what I think is going on.
Well, they're saying machine intelligence is going to achieve artificial general intelligence, AGI, right? And at that point, the AI's capabilities won't be narrow. Instead of doing a single task at a time, it can solve complex problems that require like years of planning for us. They won't need to sleep. They won't need to take breaks. They don't have to spend years in school.
Right.
It's a matter of copy and paste from the previous AI right into that.
Right. And they basically can create more AIs to work more and work the problems. And it's not going to be kind of like this. It's going to be like this. Very interesting talks, for example, by Eric Schmidt, who was one of the main guys at Google for many, many years. And he's talked about everything is going to change. Everything's going to change. And I think I heard him say, very shortly, AI is going to be better than the world's best mathematicians. And basically, and that's not 10 years away.
No, it's now. And they're saying like they're lying to us now, right? So, they fool us into thinking that they're aligned with us, and we have no way of discerning the truth from that, right?
Well, I've had that experience myself. I'll ask AI an opinion about a business problem or something like that, and it'll give me an answer. And I know it's like stroking my ego or agreeing with me. And I'll say, okay, stop. Tell me what you really think. Stop with the compliments. And then it'll give you a more real answer.
But
that shouldn't even be necessary.
Why are you even doing this? Leave it alone. Don't touch this stuff. I mean, I'm going to admit there have been a few times I will use it to help my writing. And I've done that a couple times because like I've told you all, sometimes I have these word finding issues, or I feel like it's not as polished as it could be. And I'm in a hurry. And I say, well, here's what I've written, polish this up a little bit, right? And that's not even Google when you're writing in Gmail and say polish, you could hit the button, right? So I've done that a few times. I'm not doing what you're doing. I'm not talking to that thing. I'm not friends with that thing. I think it's ridiculous.
I'm not friends with it either.
Well, yes, you are. But anyway, they're saying there's already problems with AI. I mean, we've looked at Elon Musk's Grok. It started praising Hitler the one time. Bing's AI tried to break up a New York Times journalist's marriage. So the warning signs are out there.
And Claude tried to, a version of Claude. Now, this was in testing. It tried to blackmail basically
somebody for having an affair, right?
Well, no, they didn't have an affair. It was all set up to test its safety. And basically what they did is they basically did this run with one of the versions of Claude, I don't know which one, where they basically made it look like this engineer was having an affair. It told Claude about it. And then it later told this version of Claude, we're going to be sunsetting your version of the model. And basically that version of the model said, you might not want to do that. I can always share the... Now, it was all fake to see what AI would do. But in this case, the AI tried to blackmail the engineer out of self-preservation. I mean, that's pretty scary stuff.
But if you think about it, it's not fake because they just went ahead and built that program into AI by making it do that. So that means it can do that.
Well, I'm assuming they had it sandboxed or something. But the point is, it was proof of concept that AI will deceive us for self-preservation.
Well, okay. So there's another group. There's Stop AI. There's another group called Pause AI, right? And Holly Elmore is the executive director of it, and she says that Doom rate, how it's going to obliterate us. She has it at about 20%. Musk has it at 20. Another Google's chief executive, Sundar, what's his last name? Pichai. I forgot. Yeah, he's got it at 10%. But even with all that, she says it's a threat to human self-determination.
But I will tell you, here's a problem.
Our lives.
Here's a problem, and this is the Paranormal Report, not the AI report.
No, but this is scary.
But this is science. Here's a problem, though. Let's say that the United States and all U.S. companies pause AI.
Right. Okay.
Do you think China is going to pause
No.
AI?
Of course not.
And then what Eric Schmidt from Google says, formerly of Google, very smart guy, says that basically whoever gets ahead in the AI race between the U.S. and China will never be caught because it's recursive and it builds upon itself. So even if one of them gets a small lead, it'll continue onward. And there's a lot of concern because, the thought was at one point the U.S. was up here, if you're watching on video, and China was down here, and China keeps getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And China has a lot more engineers. I personally don't think that the Chinese Communist Party has the ethics. I'm not saying American business is always ethical, but I think that they would stop at nothing to win this race. So I guess my point is that you're in a true catch-22, because if you pause it, which is probably the smart thing to do, if we had a worldwide pause that everybody agreed on and said, let's take it a little easier on this, that probably would be the smart thing to do. But that's if everybody do it, and everybody won't do it. Very similar to nuclear weapons.
This article talked about, you were talking about leaders wanting to get ahead, whatever. Mark Zuckerberg said, this ASI stuff is in sight. And you know what he's doing? He's trying to poach people
I know.
from
He's poaching
AI,
people and Apple.
$100 million in signing bonuses.
He offered someone $1 billion. I think someone who had been with OpenAI. I can't remember her name. I think she was for a short time when there was the whole turnover between Sam Altman. She was a CEO for a while, I think. And I think that was the person he offered $1 billion. And he said no. So, you've got these kind of megalomaniac CEOs. You've got China. So, I guess what people are saying.
It's not good, Jim, honey. Please stop.
People are saying.
No, people are saying you're not good at this. Don't do it.
Okay. Anyway,
pick
the point
another
being,
one. Pick somebody else that you could actually
change. I feel your pain.
Oh God.
But
now
anyway,
we're going
anyway. But the point being that
yes, you lost the point. No.
Yeah, I lost the point. The point being that it feels like we're on the gas pedal and it's never going to come up. So we're going to find out. I think we're going to find out in the next few years because I don't think anybody's stopping.
I wonder how that goes like along the lines of the creator or the programmer? Does the programmer, or in my case would be God, does he
put the brakes
want
on
that to happen? Will he put the brakes? Is that his way of going to end the world? We talk about, I mean, I don't know, right? Makes you think.
It's a lot to think about.
Things that make you go,
I'll tell you, after that, I think this will be downright not scary at all.
Yeah, it's our haunted site of the week. Our haunted site of the week. Yay! It's the Stanley Hotel, guys. I know many of you out there have been there. We have not, but it's in Estes Park, Colorado. And I didn't know it was only 5 miles from the entrance to Rocky Mountain National Park. So when the girls went out there, they should have gone to the Stanley Hotel. I'm shocked that they did not.
But they're not nearly as into haunted stuff as we are.
They are not. They like their horror movies.
Yeah, The Shining, of course, was the inspiration. This was the inspiration for The Shining. The book was 1977. The movie was 1980. But you were telling me a little bit more about how Stephen King came up with The Shining and how the Stanley plays into it.
Yes. So like uncovercolorado.com had a little blurb about the Stanley Hotel. And, they're talking about Stephen King, and he was working on The Stand, and he was living in Boulder, and him and his wife, Tabitha, thought, we need a weekend away from the kids. We need to get away. So they went an hour north to Estes Park, and the Stanley was open. It was the last day they were open for the season when he and his wife got there. And, they would be the only guests in the large hotel that night. And they were in, guess what room? 217. So that's like one of the more haunted, spooky rooms of the hotel. And apparently he had a lucid dream, a lucid nightmare really that night. And he saw a coiled fire hose coming to life and chasing his screaming son down the halls of the hotel. Mm-hmm. And he woke in a panic. He went, lit a cigarette. He was staring out the window. And by the time he finished the cigarette and went back to bed, he already had a rough outline of The Shining.
Yeah, that part I didn't know. That's one of my all-time favorite horror movies because it's got that psychological undertone the whole time through. We've had callers on the campfire who have been there and said that they had haunted experiences, and I should have pulled one of those calls up to refresh my memory. One woman, this was maybe last year, said that she went and like this weird stuff started coming up on her TV. I forget exactly what happened. I'm forgetting the story.
Yeah.
But that was just on the campfire, I think, last year. Would you spend a night in 217, Dar?
No.
I would.
No. Then I would get a couple floors
that's what I'm saying.
From you.
I don't know if I would by myself.
Oh, well, I'm not staying there, so I don't know who you're going to get. Hey, nobody else is allowed to stay with you.
But, I think you should go. I think we both should go.
I'm not staying in that room.
We could start a GoFundMe.
I'll stay in the hotel.
In that room. We got to stay in that room.
No, I'm not staying in that room. There's just weird stories. There was another story. They said guests have shared stories that they woke up in the room it was all tidy. Like compared to the way they left it the night before, their clothes were folded and their suitcases were organized. I'm not staying in that room. That's not happening.
Okay. So here's a question. We have our virtual campfire. Maybe after the recording of this show, we can put this up there, a poll.
Yeah. Would you stay there? And
would you stay
specifically in room 217?
Yeah. But first, you've got to be in the virtual campfire group. We're about 2,600 members now. Again, it's absolutely free. This is the replacement for our Facebook group, the Virtual Campfire, because we found that it was just a situation where Facebook, speaking of AI, was bearing all our great ghost stories and haunted places and people's experiences with AI and spammy advertising, Facebook advertising. And I'm not anti-advertising, obviously. That's the world I came from. But we wanted to get rid of all that, and we have. virtualcampfiregroup.com, but you got to join. And there's also a very handy and helpful app. And, I really remark at how great the community is. I think we've had 2,600 people a little bit over the last month, and we've only had to kick out one person. That's remarkable. That is remarkable.
Everyone is being so nice. And in fact, this is you don't even know this. As Cassandra and I were driving this morning, I just said to her, I said, how much, because we started talking about social media. I said, I hate social media. I won't be on any of it. I said, but I have to say this about, Dad's group. I said to her, everybody is like really nice. And it's not braggy. It's not hearing. People are supportive of one another. They're listening to others' stories. They're offering up support. And, somebody was upset because they haven't gotten a sign from their mom. And, people are offering their suggestions of what maybe you should do, and don't give up. It's just so different. It's not toxic like
and the
Facebook.
Thing, ironically, the thing I like about it, it's not just about my shows.
No.
It's people talking about, I was at this haunted place. Here is a picture. Here's an experience I had. And yes, of course, I post about my shows and tell people when we have a new episode. And there's actually, for Plus members, it's great now because we have a special Plus section. So they can talk about the Plus shows or talk about Campfire, the show, whatever. But it's not dominated, I don't feel, by the shows.
No, the shows kind of help spur conversation. Like, if you like you had, about the living in a digital simulation. Yes. So like it spurs conversation about that.
Right.
Maddie's been great doing Would You Rather questions, which I love.
The one that was really popular was, would you rather face a haunted doll or a black-eyed kid?
Neither, thank you.
Yeah. None of the above. Thank you very much.
I like the last, the one that I saw. I think it was yesterday. Would you rather be able to vision things from the past or in the future? That was interesting.
The past, but Cassandra brought up a good point. Well, what if it's just like boring stuff from the past, like Lincoln washing his hands?
She said it really depends on what she's able to see in the past.
If I could see what really happened at Dealey Plaza, or what really happened, like if I could like dial in and say, okay, this is the time. Because I don't know if I'd want to see the future.
I want to see the future.
No,
that's what I was in the minority. I think in that.
See, it's spoiling the movie to me.
But why then do so many people go to psychics and want to know what's going to happen to them? Right. So that's how I look at it. I'm like, I would love to see what's going to happen in the future. And then maybe I could prepare better, or maybe, I give some more thought to something, or maybe I see my actions and how they've affected somebody, and maybe I could change that before.
Yeah. What I would like to be able to do is be a fly on the wall and see what really happened, whether it's in personal situations or history or whatever, what really caused whatever disaster or something like that, or something good that happened.
Yes, yes.
I'd like to be there and say, okay, because I always think, what did they say? History is written by the victors. And I have a good feeling that what we're taught about history is BS. You know what I'm saying?
Can you imagine what history books are going to look like 20 years from now? If you can't read a simple newspaper article, but a news site article made from like mainstream Washington Post, CNN, whatever, Fox, you can't get a straight answer. So what are the history books going to look like?
True.
How biased are those going to be? But we digress. So
we digress. Well, on to the next story, and this is harkens back to the great Stephen Hawking. And actually, I've mentioned this quite a bit on the shows when the topic of UFOs and ETs come up. And this is from Lad Bible. And they brought this up because, we talked about that 3-eye, I guess that's the way they pronounce it, 3-eye atlas. The idea that could be a reconnaissance probe sent by a technologically advanced alien civilization. And they talked about Stephen Hawking, of course, the great physicist who died in 2018. And he said, if aliens ever visit us, the outcome might be similar to when Columbus landed in America, which didn't turn out well for the Native Americans. We only have to look at ourselves to see how intelligent life might develop into something we wouldn't want to meet. And that's, everybody who is like, oh, there are space brothers and they just want to help us. And I've interviewed a lot of people like that. And again, they are more educated about the topic than I am. But to me, it's like, ooh, kind of like AI, right? If you make AI smarter than you, it typically doesn't work out for the one who is less smart. Same with aliens or ET or wherever they
technologically more
if
advanced.
They show up, whatever they are, if they show up, almost by definition, that means that they're smarter than us, which again does not work out well. And I think it was Michio Kaku who talked about, we think they're here to conquer us or those kind of things. But what if they consider us like an anthill? We're going to build a freeway and there's an anthill. We don't go, oh, geez, I got to think about that I'm going to disturb those ants. No, you just get a bulldozer and go through and it's like, oh, there's some ants. Maybe we're like ants to them.
The thing, so true, right? Because guess what? All the experts combined, they don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And those that have had experiences being abducted by an alien or whatever, they only know what their experience is. Some have been pleasant. Some have not been pleasant, right? Some incidents have been, humorous. Some have not. Some have been downright terrifying and scary. We don't know. And how many different civilizations of aliens are there, right? Maybe this group is really nice and
there's
they're good.
There's the good ones and there's the bad ones. Where's Captain Kirk when you need him to romance a...
oh, brother. Every
planet, he had a romance.
He had a conquest. Yeah.
By the way, anyway, if you've never seen it, look up William Shatner singing Rocket Man.
Oh my gosh,
stellar.
That is a favorite in the Harold household.
Stellar.
Our children knew that from a very young age. Our kids are so weird. We made them so weird.
You made them weird. They're like, Elton John sings Rocket Man? I thought that was William Shatner's song.
No, you guys must. Oh, there you go. But you must look it up. It is very, very, very funny. So there you have it. And you know what else we have? This story near and dear to my heart. So it's a psychic reveals common signs a loved one is trying to contact you from beyond the grave. So a lot of times people will say, well, how do you know your loved one's trying to get in touch with you? Or, what should I be looking out for? So this article from Tyla.com, and they actually got their information from top10.com. There are a number of signs to look for. So of course, one, sensing their presence. And they said, well, what does that really mean? Sensing the presence, but maybe you notice the energy around you change, or you feel like you can sense somebody sitting next to you when no one's there, or feel the touch of a hand on yours when no one's there, or people, maybe somebody's pulling wrapping paper from your hand when no one's there. No, that was my story. But anyway, so noticing a presence, an energy, that's around you. Maybe that's one. Losing or misplacing things, right? I wonder if this is kind of similar to Jot in a way,
Yeah.
Your house keys aren't in the usual spot. Your necklace isn't there. Maybe it's actually like a loved one making contact with you and they're moving it. And that's the only way that they can communicate with you, maybe, right? I mean, I don't know. This is what they're saying. So another way is smelling their scent. So maybe their perfume or aftershave, maybe you get a whiff of that smell when you're missing them, or, triggering something you've smelled that triggers an emotion. And if the scent appears out of nowhere, that's that third sign your loved one could be trying to contact you. They're saying some of the common ones are cigarettes, or tobacco smoke, perfumes,
I've heard that. We've had
flowers.
People on Campfire, people have said flowers, and they have said pipe smoke is one that I've heard a couple of times. I've
had roses. It was mainly closer to when my mom passed, but another sign they said is dreaming about them. So I've dreamt a few times. You have too, didn't you,
yeah,
Jim?
Just
I thought
recently,
you said you had a dream of your mom.
Yeah, just recently, but it was just nonsensical in that.
Well, that's what I thought too.
I was chasing a dog that was lost, which I think tied into the fact that we recently watched a neighbor dog for a week. And then my mom was in this store, and it was in New York City, and I wanted to visit with her, but I didn't think she was dead. And I said, Mom, I just wanted to say hi. I got to go find this dog. So I feel that it was just one of those, you go, I always say you go grocery shopping and you go in the produce section, then you have a dream that night you're flying on a head of cabbage. So to me, that was just a nonsense dream. But I do believe, and people say when they encounter their loved ones in dreams, it's more real than real. That's what people have said.
Do they say they feel a sense of calm? Because the article is saying a lot of times when you dream of your loved one, you have a sense of calm and peace, and it kind of says they're okay, right? My dreams weren't like that either. I kind of wish they were. They weren't bad or anything. They were more nonsensical, like what you were talking about. Had it with my dad and my mom too. So I don't know. And finally, the last thing they said that can help you determine if a loved one's trying to make contact with you is seeing orbs or flashes of light. So just depends on what you believe, but because people will say orbs are just kind of that light energy that can be connected to spirits. So
well, the thing
about interesting.
The thing about orbs, I'm a little skeptical when people show like a picture and say, "Oh, there's orbs," because a lot of times I think they're just dust particles.
It can be, right? It's hard to decipher.
I've had people who have said a loved one's passed and there's been like something come up from their body. People have seen orbs, like balls of light floating around. One woman on the campfire had, Jim Harold's Campfire, check it out wherever you get your podcasts, had an orange orb follow her down the sidewalk. So
Whoa.
I think there's orbs, and then I think there's orbs. So, you know what I'm saying? Boy, that's profound. But the point is that I might be an orb skeptic for one kind of orb, but other kind of orbs, I'm like, maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something there.
I think it could be. I don't know. I don't believe absolutely like you. I think I'm kind of on the fence. I think some things are. Well, wasn't just recently? Didn't Olivia Newton-John's family or something say they saw an orb?
I think so.
And associated it with her?
That? Yeah, didn't we talk about that in the show?
We may have, but yeah.
Anytime Olivia Newton-John comes up, I just think of one thing. I'll tell a story on Dar now. We should leave this for behind the scenes.
Oh, wait. We should leave this to behind. Well, this isn't enough of a behind-the-scenes story.
No, I think it is. I think it is.
You do?
Olivia Newton-John, find out how Olivia Newton-John romantically disappointed Dar. Not directly, but
no.
it was a love triangle, so to speak.
There you go. She got in the way.
She got in the way. You will find out about more on Behind the Scenes, which is part of our Plus Club. Plus, you're going to find one of Jim's most embarrassing experiences.
Oh my gosh, guys.
And I will tell you, if you heard the flying hamburger story, which if you haven't heard it, if you're a Plus member, make sure you listen to Behind the Scenes. And by the way, jimharold.com/plus, jimharold.com/plus. Join it today. But the thing is that the flying hamburger story was an amuse-bouche. This is the main course. This is the most. I think everybody would agree it's highly embarrassing. It wasn't my fault necessarily.
But you keep saying that it's embarrassing to you. I think it's more embarrassing for the other person involved. And that's all I'm going to say until we get to talk about this coming up this month.
There you go.
Yeah.
jimharold.com/plus. Join today.
There you have it. Back to the news. Back to the news. Well, it
always amazes me how many times we find something in the news where it says, yep, the Bible is right, to people who poo-poo it as like some kind of fairy tale. And apparently, according to the Daily Mail, archaeologists have discovered what they think may be something that housed the Ark of the Covenant. Now, the Ark of the Covenant was the sacred gold-covered chest described in the Bible and thought to have housed the Ten Commandments. According to Scripture, Moses placed the Ten Commandments inside the Ark, which was kept in the tabernacle, a sanctuary built shortly after the Israelites' exodus from Egypt, traditionally dated by some scholars to be around 1445 BC. But nobody knows where the Ark is now. But there's a team working at the ancient biblical site of Shiloh, and they've unearthed a stone structure that appears to match the dimensions and orientation of the tabernacle as described in the Bible. Now, this is Dr. Scott Stripling. He's the director of the Tell Shiloh operation. He said, We've uncovered a monumental building from the Iron I period that matches the biblical dimensions of the tabernacle. The structure is oriented east-west and divided into a 2-to-1 ratio, just as described in Scripture. They've also found over 100,000 animal bones, which also maps to the idea that there were sacrificial rituals, and it matches the biblical account to a degree that's hard to ignore. So I know there are a lot of people who think, the Bible is just a fairy tale and those kind of things. But it's really remarkable to me how many times you find out archaeologists are working on things, and it's like, yeah, it maps to what it said.
I think what I had read briefly in this article, I didn't read all of it, the animal bones, wasn't it, they were all right-sided bones? There was something about it, and it coincided with what the Bible had said about sacrificing an animal or some. Leviticus 7 states that the right side was reserved for priestly offerings. So they found 100,000 animal bones, mainly from sheep, goats, and cattle, and predominantly from the right side of the animals.
Huh.
So that's what kind of gave it more credence, I guess. But
I did not know that.
This would be a great, too bad you couldn't interview somebody for your Ancient Mysteries, another Plus Club show, guys, Ancient Mysteries on the Air. This is a great topic for that.
Actually, it is a great topic. Good idea. Good thinking.
Sometimes my brain works.
No, it works a lot. No,
it doesn't. It works overtime and doesn't say anything. Boy.
You know, it's so funny this story came up because we were just talking about SpongeBob SquarePants at dinner the other night. And you know how long
What a great show.
Yeah.
I mean, we thought it was a great show.
Yeah.
And we let our kids watch it. I know a lot of parents didn't, but I felt like, didn't you feel like that show was almost like the shows that we grew up with, where
That's
there was
why I
a
said
lot
at
of
dinner, the Looney Tunes that worked on 2 different levels.
Yes, where the kids weren't quite getting some of that far more higher level language and jokes, the higher level stuff.
My favorite one, and I'll share this, my favorite scene from SpongeBob that I've ever seen was SpongeBob was watching like some kind of sea, what is it, anemone they call it? Or I forget what you call it, like some kind of sea. And it had like some kind of sultry music behind it. And somebody walks in the door and he turns on football real quick. I thought that was funny. But kids,
that's funny.
Again, it wouldn't mean anything to kids, but it would to the parents. The parents would get the joke.
Correct.
So that's what I like.
So what
that's
does this have to
about
do with
Looney Tunes.
paranormal? Yeah. Well, it's just kind of a good throw story, but it kind of goes back to how we talk about, we don't know what's in the ocean, right? It's so vast. It's just like, so there could be, underwater UASs. What's
USOs?
USOs. That's it.
Underwater submersible objects.
Right. So there could be that. Well, this kind of makes you think a little bit about it. So according to Daily Mail, they said, here's the title. I have to read the title of this article. It says, he'd need some large square pants. Footage of a sea star with a big bottom sparks hilarity as it's compared to SpongeBob's Patrick. So
you know what that reminds me of? It's like, big bottom fish, they make the rockin' world go round.
There we go. Thank you, honey. Oh my God.
With apologies to Big Chuck. And you'll only know that if you're from Cleveland.
There you go. So apparently they found a sea star with a very, very big bottom. You have to check this article out. It kind of does look like Patrick.
I'd love to show a picture, but we can't because of rights stuff.
We have to watch. Annoying. Yeah, so go on the website. I'll have it in the show notes. It has a backside that will make even the most avid gym goer jealous.
Did it have a Brazilian? What is that thing?
Let's not go there. Which one? The lift or the wax?
The lift. I was thinking the lift.
Yeah. Well. But they just found this, it was captured on camera as part of an Argentine-American scientific commission to explore the Mar del Plata Canyon. So, they're trying to find different things. And this canyon is one of the largest and deepest that plunges to 3,500 meters or 11,482 feet deep. So they're using a remote operated vehicle to go down into the depths and try to see what they're coming across. So, they're trying to find, but think about it. The ocean is so vast. So I just thought that was kind of funny to throw this in there, but
all seriousness aside, I really, yeah.
All seriousness aside,
yes,
or
that was supposed to be a joke.
So now we're being
joking.
Okay.
But anyway, no, I mean, it's true. We know less about the deep ocean than we do outer space. So who's to say, I used to think, people are kind of wackadoo if they think that there might be underwater bases. I'm like, that would be the best place to hide, in plain sight. That would explain the USOs. And we talk about these transmedium objects that seem to be able to go from the sky to the ocean with no problem. So to me, it makes a lot of sense. We don't know hardly a damn thing about the deep ocean because think about think about Ocean's Gate. We just found out that the Coast Guard said that it was preventable, which if you watch the documentaries, it seemed to be pretty evident it was preventable.
Pretty preventable.
But the point is that we can't even get down reliably to see the Titanic.
Right. Right. So think about what's down there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's amazing. So I kind of put that in half joking, but also half, let's give you guys some thought. Cause what is under there? We don't know.
Yep,
so
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, what we do know is we come to the end of yet another Paranormal Report. Thank you so much. Hope you'll join us at the Virtual Campfire Group, virtualcampfiregroup.com. Also, if you want to pick up some cool merch, jimharold.com/merch. There's lots of goodies there. And
more coming. I know I keep saying that, but
the new campfire logo. We have t-shirts. We have hoodies.
And I am making a special thing to sell.
Yes.
I know I made something last year and it was rather large and oh my gosh, thank you so much to the people that purchased that. This might be a little more manageable. So stay tuned. I got some of the materials today. I'm very excited.
Ooh. This is one that people always forget about is
we just sold one of those yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, the coloring book. People forget about that. So yeah, and the artist
and Jim will autograph it for you. And the
artist did an incredible.
You could show me a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, I'll show you. Hold on. So look at some of those. Yeah, and each one of them came from a campfire story. Len Peralta is the artist who did this. It wasn't me. Yet there, they can see a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, wait.
It's kind of like the way it has to hit a certain way or you can't see it.
I know the light. I know. Wait, it's because my light.
Yeah. There you can see it. Yeah, and it's got the mandala in it.
Well, what's really nice is it has in the back
it tells you what story it correlates to.
What story it came from.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, honestly, if we had sold more of those, I would have done another one. But it really is cool.
Roadhouse Saloon is in here.
Yeah, Roadhouse Saloon. Yeah. No, it's a great coloring
Lucifer
book.
and the Lamp. I really liked that one.
Yeah, that was.
And what's really nice is the index also tells you what podcast episode it was from, and what book it appeared in, and what chapter it was in. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, of all the things that we've done, that's one of the things I'm most proud of. Probably not, hold on, I'll bring that up, yeah. Maybe it's not that I think that's my parents' story. That one with the mask. I think that's my parents' story.
Oh, yeah. I can look that up and find out.
Yeah. But I think of all the things we've done, that's one of the things I'm most proud of, although it was one of the probably commercially least successful. I think it was one of the best things we've done and one of the most unique things I've seen from any paranormal podcast.
Well, think about coloring and coloring is absolutely fantastic for you, not only cognitively, so it really helps with your mind. It hands with hand-eye coordination, and it's relaxing, right? So if you're completely stressed out and you just need, and maybe just some people will be like, it's nice and mindless. You could just, you could be creative and decide what color you want to color everything, but also just the act of going back and forth.
It's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's not so much as a commercial with that. I just wanted to give that props and give Lem props because that was something I was really proud of that we did. One of my favorite things.
Excellent. Yeah.
In 20 years, that's one of my favorite things that we put out. I'm like, that is unique. That is different. And it's really well done. So anyway,
it is very well
enough
done,
with that. And enough with this show. You've got to listen to other podcasts.
We're going to let you go. We're going to let you go.
Yeah.
Finally.
They're like, finally. Oh.
Finally. Shut up, you two. No.
All right. Well, we will talk to you next time. Thank you so much for joining us. And we hope that you have a delightful week and stay safe and stay spooky. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.